hate to interrupt the honourable member, but it has we've come to the allocated time. We move on to oral questions. The honourable member will have about 9 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock when she resumes her discussion on this question of privilege. Comme il est 14 heures, c'est le temps pour...
It being 2 o'clock, it's time for statements by members.
The honourable member from Vaughan, Woodbridge.
Mr. Speaker, gratitude and pride were the two themes that permeated at the opening of LiUNA Local 183's headquarters in the city of Vaughan. Pride in the official opening of the new state-of-the-art headquarters representing 70,000 members strong and their families. And gratitude for those 400 workers who in 1952 formed Local 183 and the members who have followed and fought for better working conditions, better benefits, and a better and brighter future for us all. Mr. Speaker, I extend my warmest congratulations to Business Manager Jack Oliveira and the LiUNA Local 183 Executive Board, staff, and members on this remarkable occasion. And to LiUNA International Vice President and Canadian Director Joseph Mancinelli, thank you for your ongoing leadership. I also join the strong LiUNA family in honouring two giants who helped pave the foundation of LiUNA and the industry, Enrico Mancinelli and Julio Oliveira Sr. Mr. Speaker, my gratitude and best wishes always to the LiUNA members that keep Canada moving forward. Feel the power.
The honourable member from Haliburton, Kawartha Lakes, Brock.
Speaker, each year 2 students from each of the 7 secondary schools in my riding are selected to participate in a program called the Capital Experience. It was started 19 years ago by my predecessor, Barry DeVolen. During the past 3 days in Ottawa, they have learned about the various career opportunities that await them. I would like to introduce this year's participants: Calvin Smith and Evan Lane from IE Weldon, Sophia Ensign Telford from Fenland Falls, Sadie Evans-Faulkner and Trevin Bain-Gross from Haliburton Highlands, Sarah Wojciesko and Daniel Patterson from St. Thomas Aquinas, Ella Wilson and Becca Lang from LCVI, Bronte Weber and Tyler Pettit from Brock, Allison Carroll and Braden Boughton from Crestwood. I'd like to thank the sponsors, the Lions Clubs, Rotary Clubs, and local legions, as well as the guest speakers for their ongoing support of this program. It's my hope that these students will be inspired as they consider their future. To that end, I'd like to invite my colleagues to welcome these young leaders to Ottawa.
Hear, hear. Indeed, welcome. The honourable member from St. John, Rothsay.
Mr. Speaker, the winds of change have blown through New Brunswick. Last night, New Brunswickers voted for change and helped make history too. New Brunswick has elected its first female premier. Susan Holt led her Liberal team to a solid majority government, bringing an end to 6 years of Conservative rule. Even Premier Blaine Higgs lost his seat in the red tide of change. The final tally is 31 seats for the Liberals, 16 seats for the Conservatives, and 2 for the Greens, including Green Party leader David Coon. It's a new day for my home province, and under the leadership of Premier-designate Holt, I am confident New Brunswickers have put their faith behind someone who will listen, lead with authenticity, and who will take their best interest at the center of every decision they make. Congratulations and go Team Holt!
The honourable member for Laurentide-Labelle. Today, I'd like to turn the spotlight onto Sylvie Bolduc, General Manager of SADC des Laurentides, for the last 15 years. She's leaving now for a well-deserved retirement, and I'd like to highlight the remarkable contribution that she's made to the development of many large-scale economic projects in the Laurentians, projects that have had major direct benefits for the region. She set up Synergie Économique Laurentide, which is dedicated to the circular economy and which is now a leader in that sector. Sylvie Bolduc has made major contributions, has made a big difference in the Laurentian economic landscape, and she brought a feminine face to regional economic development. She was a pioneer who has cleared the way for everyone who has an entrepreneurial spirit. On behalf of all those who've worked with her, economic and community partners, Sylvie, I thank you very much for your leadership, which has brought people together, and I wish you a long and happy retirement.
The honourable member from Yukon.
Mr. Speaker, our government will always protect universal, publicly funded health care, as well as sexual and reproductive rights. These two principles underlie the Pharmacare Act, which received royal assent on October 10th. This landmark legislation will establish a framework for a national, publicly funded system for universal drug coverage, and very soon will ensure every Canadian from coast to coast to coast has access to essential diabetes medications and contraception. Pharmacare means that 9 million women and gender-diverse Canadians will no longer need to bear the financial burden of accessing contraception. Additionally, more than 3.5 million Canadians living with diabetes will gain access to the medications and supplies to manage their disease. We know that cost is one of the biggest barriers for Canadians to get access to the medication that they need. As parliamentarians, our role is to protect and better the lives of the Canadians that we serve. The passing of this legislation will be a lasting benefit to Canadians. Thank you.
The honourable member from Kamloops, Thompson Caribou.
Mr. Speaker, after 9 years of the NDP Liberals, taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, and time is up. Mr. Speaker, are you interested in a heat pump? Because these Liberals know a guy. He goes by the name of Carbon Tax Carney, Conflict of Interest Carney, Heat Pump Hustle Carney, and future leader of the Liberal Party Carney. He has as many nicknames as he does conflicts of interest. For instance, he's been caught lobbying the government to scale back rules on heat pump qualifications, helping his firm earn a few quick bucks. With sleight of hand, he not only pitches the idea, but he installs the product too. He's been caught trying to enrich himself with Canadian tax dollars. Brookfield is the name, $10 billion is the gain. It's clear that Carbon Tax Carney has too many conflicts of interest to be advising the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister needs to fire him now or bring him under the umbrella of ethics rules.
That's right.
Hey.
Great job. Great statement.
The honourable member from Calgary Skyview.
Mr. Speaker, the passage of our pharmacare legislation is a huge step forward for universal health care in Canada. Millions of Canadians and Albertans living with diabetes will be able to follow their treatment plans without having to make tough financial decisions. I am so proud that we will be able to help over 3.5 million Canadians living with diabetes, so that they can focus on their health and wellness instead of the amount of money it will cost to maintain their treatment plan. Caring for our neighbours is what Canadians do. Every Conservative member in this House voted against pharmacare because they don't want to work on solutions that will put the health of Canadians first. On this side of the House, we will always stand up for Canadians and their right to universal health care. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member from Aurora Oak Ridges, Richmond Hill.
Mr. Speaker, women and gender-diverse Canadians deserve to know their government has their back. With the recent passage of the Pharmacare Act on October 10th, we will soon see 9 million women and gender-diverse Canadians have access to free contraceptives if they need it. This will change millions of lives for generations to come, and we will look back at this critical moment for women and gender-diverse people across Canada and be proud that our government stepped up to make the Pharmacare Act a reality. Family values means valuing and supporting families. Free contraceptives through the Pharmacare Act is the latest policy joining universal childcare, the Canada Child Benefit, and many others in supporting families. Our Liberal government doesn't just talk about family values, we invest in them through progressive policies such as free contraceptives. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member from Battle River, Crowfoot.
After 9 years of the NDP Liberals, taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, and it turns out CBC bonuses are also up. Yesterday in Heritage Committee, Catherine Tate, the Liberals' hand-picked CEO of CBC, refused to rule out accepting a fat taxpayer-funded bonus and severance as her term comes to an end. With its viewership down, ad revenue falling, and less trust all the time, CBC responds by giving $18 million in bonuses, including an average of $73,000 for each of the broadcaster's 43 executives, and millions more for its hundreds of managers. Then they pay for a $1,000 a night hotel room in Paris so that Ms. Tate can attend luxury balls at the Louvre. All while they ask for more money, fire hundreds of employees, cut services, and get woke. Even the Liberals admit CBC is making its own case for it to be defunded, something that Ms. Tate says is gaining momentum. Mr. Speaker, the solution is simple. Reject the bonuses, fire the Prime Minister, and defund the CBC. That's common sense.
The honourable member for Longueuil-Charlemagne. Mr. Speaker, on October 10th, the Pharmacare Act received royal assent. Among other things, this act will give Canadians universal single-payer coverage for a range of contraceptives. 9 million women and gender-diverse persons will be able to benefit from this measure. In recent months, many constituents in my riding of Longueuil-Charlemagne had told me the extent to which this bill was important for them. Canadians want to be able to choose if, when, and how they start a family, and our government has listened to them. Unfortunately, the Conservatives voted against this act at every step.
The cost of contraceptives is one of the many barriers to gender equity in Canada. Our government will always stand up for a woman's right to choose and make medical decisions about her own body. Our Pharmacare Act delivers on that commitment. Bravo. Thank you. Great job. Great job.
The honourable member from Durham.
Canadians are sick and tired of the Prime Minister's misleading statements about gun violence.
That's right.
Yesterday, the Prime Minister had the audacity to pat himself on the back over his appalling handgun crime record. Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm a Canadian who lost a friend 3 years ago to gun violence, and I take the Prime Minister's deception personally. Handgun crime is up 116% since the Liberals came into power. Families are grieving, and the Toronto Police Association is calling out the Prime Minister for being out of touch and offensive to victims. Canadians simply deserve better. Canadians deserve a Prime Minister and a government that will stop the crime. Not this Prime Minister who is focused on celebrating his own failures.
The honourable member from Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands and Rideau Lakes.
After 9 years, this NDP Liberal government is not worth the cost or the corruption. Today, the Auditor General confirms a full investigation into the Liberal government deals awarded to Arrive scam contractor GC Strategies. This shady two-person firm that did absolutely no IT work charged taxpayers $2,600 per hour for over $100 million in government contracts. Sole source deals that froze out hard-working Canadian companies. In the Arrive scam scandal alone, the Liberals' preferred contractor, GC Strategies, pocketed $20 million of a $60 million price tag for an app that should have cost a fraction of the price. Why did the Prime Minister give these Arrive scam middlemen $100 million since he took office? And when will the Prime Minister stop robbing Canadians of their hard-earned money and doling it out to well-connected Liberal elites? After 9 years of these NDP Liberals, taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, and time is up for these corrupt Liberals and their well-connected friends. Common sense Conservatives are going to end the corruption and bring home a carbon tax election.
The honourable member from Egmont.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. For Islanders who live in my riding, this government's commitment to lowering costs has resulted in real benefits. Whether it was keeping the retirement age at 65 or making the Canada Child Benefit tax-free, the decisions we have taken have been a real help to thousands in my riding. The new Pharmacare Act is another important chapter in that journey towards a fairer society. On Prince Edward Island, we are already seeing the results. Millions have been saved, and more importantly, Islanders know that they have affordable access they need to keep them healthy. And this is what I am hearing from constituents in my riding. Keep going, and more importantly, make sure you protect the gains we have made. Our lives are better than they were under the former government, and we need you to protect the gains we have all made together. Hear, hear.
Order. The honourable member from Hamilton Centre.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to recognize October as Dyslexia Awareness Month in line with Dyslexia Canada's campaign, Mark It Red for Dyslexia. This year's theme is Breaking the Silence, shedding light on the 10 to 20% of Canadians living with this often overlooked learning disability. Dyslexia affects reading, writing, and spelling, but with early identification and the right support, its impact can be reduced and individuals can thrive. As a nation, we must commit to raising awareness and supporting those with dyslexia
by lighting up our buildings and monuments in red this October. Together, let's break the silence and advocate for the needs of children and adults with dyslexia across Canada.
The Honourable Member for Montcalm. Mr. Speaker, I would like to mark the 250th anniversary of a magnificent municipality in my riding, Saint-Jacques. This great little town is considered the cradle of Nouvelle Acadie, or New Acadia. Founded in 1774, Saint-Jacques was a refuge for many Acadian families who found there a place of welcome and peace after having been shamefully deported by the British Crown during the Acadian deportation, the Grand Dérangement. Nestled in the heart of the Lanaudière region, this municipality attracts gourmets and amateurs of history. With its impressive built heritage, it's also home to such gems as the Parc des Cultures, where you can admire an Acadian commemorative monument, and a number of sculptures, each more impressive than the next, including the bust of one of my mentors, a great Jacobin and a former Premier of Quebec, Bernard Landry. Because yes, Mr. Speaker, I have to let you in on a little secret. The greatest asset of Saint-Jacques is the people who live there. People from Saint-Jacques, happy 250th.
The Honourable Member from Regina Capel.
10 years ago, our country witnessed a horrific attack on the heart of our democracy. Corporal Nathan Cirillo, standing guard at the tomb of the unknown soldier, was senselessly murdered.
And this was just 2 days after the murder of Warrant Officer Patrice Vincent at the Saint-Jean military base.
Both were targeted for wearing the uniform of our country, defending our freedom. But in the midst of this darkness, we also saw examples of extraordinary courage. Civilians rushed to aid Corporal Cirillo, showing the compassion and resilience that define our nation. And inside Parliament, heroes emerged as well. Parliamentary Security Constable Samron Son saw the attacker armed with a rifle and acted without hesitation. In a struggle that cost him a bullet to the leg, Constable Son showed unparalleled courage when he attempted to disarm the terrorist. His brave actions bought crucial moments for the rest of the security personnel to react and ultimately stop the terrorist before he could take any more innocent lives.
Today, we honor the memory of those who were taken from us, and we stand in awe of the courage of those who acted with such selflessness.
This alone is not enough. Unfortunately, there are people today in Canada glorifying terrorist attacks and celebrating those who commit these evil acts. That is why on days like today, we should not only honor the lives lost and celebrate the heroes of the day, but clearly and unequivocally condemn those who advocate violence to achieve political goals. Let us honor the memory of Corporal Cirillo and Patrice Vincent and grieve with their families. May perpetual light shine upon them.
The Honourable Member from Waterloo.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to mark the loss of Corporal Nathan Cirillo, who was gunned down 10 years ago today while standing guard on sentry duty at the Canadian National War Memorial. On October 22, 2014, we lost a son, brother, father, friend, and a national hero. When we lost Nathan, a 24-year-old reservist from Hamilton, we all mourned as one Canadian family. My prayers continue to include his family and his loved ones, as well as the wonderful people who came to Nathan's aid. To all men and women in uniform, please know that you are valued and we appreciate your work. To our Parliamentary Protective Service members who continue to serve and those who have since left, please know that your efforts will forever be remembered. Today is a devastating memory in our history, and I hope all members in this place will continue to work together to ensure that the PPS is given the resources and the regard they deserve. As we honor the courageous Canadians in uniform who defend our values and freedom at home and around the world, we are reminded of the responsibility we all share to denounce hatred and to promote inclusion in our communities and in Canada. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.